We've got mixed farming here. Mixed farming is increasingly rare in the English landscape. We've got arable, we've got pasture, we've got woods, we've got coppice, and this all adds to the visual and the biodiversity quality. So that's actually, although it's been degraded quite significantly over a number of years, it's a lot better than most of the English landscape. The plantation is dead straight lines of ash, cherry, that kind of thing. But the importance to wildlife is what happens because it's unmanaged. Do you see what I mean? So you've either got, previously this was just a ploughed field, but now it's created more structural diversity for nesting birds, particularly willow warbler and whitethroat. You get nesting birds. It's worth pausing because you can see the Beacon Hill Ridge, all the pines. So that's the SPA, which is European designation, stands for Special Protection Area, and that is when we signed up in 1992 to the Biodiversity Convention in Rio. The wildlife that's special to the United Kingdom, that is of global significance, we agreed to protect. And all this heathland area that we have in Hampshire, Surrey, Dorset, some of those counties, is very important for 3 species of bird: Dartford warbler, nightjar and woodlark. So one of the unfortunate things about living in Hart is a lot of our land area is designated, and European designation is the very top. So therefore Hart District, they've got to take account of that very precious area. It's areas to divert dogs from going onto that heathland area and coming to other places, because those 3 species of birds are generally ground nesting or near ground nesting. So therefore they're very intolerant of a lot of people running around with dogs. The country park at Edenbrook is a sang. Okay, in fact that is a floodplain. It had a lot of fantastic wetland birds on it that were they're red listed, so they're the highest level of protection, although they're not SPA birds. But they've really trashed the wet floodplain of the Hart. Snipe, redshank, reed bunting, stonechat, lots of farmland birds. It had a real concentration of farmland, woodland and wetland birds there. Although they've kept the structure, it's it's very urbanised now and lots of disturbance, so that's really lost. If you just look around, you've got the kiln house on the skyline there, you've got paddocks, you've got arable fields, you've got horse paddocks, you've got pasture, a river, ancient woodland, hedgerows. You've got almost all the typical ingredients of scenic English countryside, picturesque countryside if you like. And one of the important things about biodiversity is connectivity, but also scale. And so you've got quite a nice undisturbed, diverse piece of countryside here. Barn owls, for example, from Pilcot fly up and down this valley to hunt, which is spectacular in the evening. But also you've got populations of reed buntings and yellowhammer singing on cue there. So there's a lot of yellowhammers here, but they're always a bit on the edge. Yellowhammer is again one of those red listed threatened farmland birds, because 2 reasons. First of all, they need weed food, grass seeds, but they also nest in the hedgerows. Now you've got either a really heavily managed hedgerow that's got very little benefit for anything, it's just too harshly cut back, or you've got all that blackthorn there hasn't been managed at all, and that's possibly getting a bit too dense. Sparrowhawks patrol this area very effectively, and if they haven't got something fairly dense to take refuge in, the sparrowhawks will take them. But this is obviously the river that the district council is named after. You can see, again, I'm just talking about the visual envelope, the conifers on the skyline of Arch Plantation, which is just near Spratt's Hatch Lane at Winchfield Barley Mow pub. So the edge of the visual envelope goes onto that skyline, and you actually get a view right across this valley, so it's on higher ground, and that's looking across the Hart Valley. So I think all these things need to be put on a plan, so the visibility of that proposed housing on top of that hill is very clear, the extent of how far it can be seen and the impact of it. If we lose plants like this, you lose the butterflies associated with them. Norwich tips particularly striking this time of year. But again, you see, even though this would have been ploughed in the past, there's still a seed bank. These plants for a few years can persist, and so if the arable farming stopped, then the rushes, the lady smock, and some and the buttercups. There's lots of buttercups in here. They can come back. For the first time ever, all this area here, virtually down to the river, up to the copse, beyond the copse. I mean, basically it's plastered. There's no any area that's not a.
It actually looks like a circle around the village if you add in the farm as well.
Yeah, it's engulfed. The village will be engulfed.
Yeah.
So it's very much a Basingstoke. You know, it's like a new town type approach, isn't it? It's just any space that isn't a woodland or currently developed is plastered. I mean, within those spaces there would be open space, but I mean there'd just be urban open parks.
Yeah,
There'd be
valueless for biodiversity.